YouTube fam, hey ladies, gentlemen, and my non-binary buddies. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I am Dimeji. If this is your first time on my page, before we get into this video, make sure you click the like, share, and subscribe button because this video it's going to be a very vulnerable one. I don't know why I'm doing this. I got few comments about like, oh, share a life updates video, let's know what is going on, and I do really appreciate those comments. This feels like a safe space, like a very tiny community where I can just share the way I feel, what I went through in the last few months. For some of you that are new here, you might be seeing me for the very first time. Make sure you check my last few videos to understand what is, to get some backstory before or after this, just whatever works for you. But there are stories like, because this is my life, this is supposed to be a lifestyle vlogging account or page. Without no further ado, let's get into this video. So my last video, it was filmed sometimes in April, I think April 20th, before moving out of my old apartment. I remember waking up very early one day in the middle of August. I was going through eviction. I had a case at the New York Housing Court here in downtown Brooklyn, around and I didn't know what to do. I just got this new job at that very moment. I think I got that job sometimes at the end of March or first week of April, between the end of March and first week of April. Before that, I was jobless, and the reason why I was jobless, there is some it was a very tough situation. I was working for this one company where things were not looking great there, and it was really affecting me, affecting my mental health. And then, you know, the way the industry works, and I was just one of those people they had to let go at that moment. So I was jobless for over 8 months, or about 8 months thereabout. I was jobless, and I was trying to find a new job. Everything just seems like it wasn't working for good for me. I remember not having enough years of experience before getting into the cybersecurity industry. And I was even able to land a job. Like within 3 weeks, I would land a job back then when I barely had any experience. But now, like having more years of experience, having more knowledge, having the master's degree, having the certification, I just couldn't land a job. It felt like I was caused by the goddess of timing. I don't know what is going on. My life just took my life took a 360, like complete turn. And it was just filled with a lot of emotions. I had to move out because obviously I was facing eviction. I couldn't afford my rent, and I know a lot of people would judge me. They would ask like, oh, that apartment is so expensive. Why did you get an apartment of that price? Because obviously I am not deaf and I am not blind. I have seen a lot of people write things like that online, and I also have family and friends who will call me and ask me, oh, why don't I move to a different state, or why don't I just get something cheaper, maybe in a different environment, or why don't I have roommates? Like people would ask me questions like that. But then, as for me, as a black immigrant from Nigeria, I always had this life, some things I never had growing up. I never get to have my own personal space. I remember like up until 2020 when I got my first apartment in Michigan, I've always had to share space and I worked my ass off. Have to I I have to constantly work. I started my education journey here in US where I was going to community college, pulling full-time hours in community college and doing full-time job because I had a dream, I had a vision. I wanted to go to NYU at some point, but I was advised by my parents, my dad and my stepmom in Michigan that, oh, out of state tuition, that would be a lot. I shouldn't go to New York at that time. I was like, yeah, I will stay back. I decided to go to Wayne State University in Midtown Detroit. I'm a warrior. So shout out to my uni, and it was a great school. It's the most diverse college in Michigan, in fact in Midwest, around like Illinois, Ohio, whatever. I think Wayne State is actually the most diverse. I had a great time in Wayne State, but after graduation I knew I wanted to move to Atlanta because, oh, since I tried New York in 2019, I made a friend, Anthony, who was a sweetheart at that very moment in time. She was like, oh, you're a New York material, come to New York. But I wasn't sure because New York lifestyle just seems like expensive. And I was talking about this time like 5, 6 years ago where the apartments there were just like $2,500, $2,800 for one bedroom. Oh my God, I would give anything to get something like that right now. But I avoided New York. However, one thing I learned along the way was the fact that I was destined to be in New York because I remember that a very year in 2021 I was about to land this job. I was this close to I was doing my master's program then in cybersecurity to getting this job with Domino's Pizza head office in Michigan. Um, it's around University of Michigan area. Where is that located? Ann Arbor. The role was based in Ann Arbor. It was paying well. I mean, for Michigan then, I think they were paying about 110,000. I was this close. And you know the reason why I didn't get the job? They told me, oh, because I am enrolled in a full-time master's program, they needed someone that would be more flexible with time, yada 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 yada, like that. So I didn't get the job. So I found this internship with this one company in New York and I decided to give it a shot. Even though I already worked, I had some experience and I was just like, "Oh, let me try this." And I went for the interview, they gave me the job. And I got to live in New York for like 3 months without paying rent because the company was covering everything. They were doing everything for me, like lunch. It was great experience. That was a wholesome internship experience then. And I realized, well, Atlanta wasn't for me. I am not meant to move to Atlanta. Let me just stay back in New York. I realized like the universe wanted me here. Without my past, I wouldn't be here because the way I got to New York, I wasn't even prepared. I didn't know I was going to get the job or whatever. It was just one of those things you do just to do. Like I wasn't even thinking too much about it. But here I am. I decided to stay back in New York, got another job, full-time job. Like things were going well, and then I think like a few months later, this whole thing started at the company, and I had to leave. I had to go. They had to like we all have to part our ways, and I was jobless. That was what led to my previous video and me not liking my old apartment and everything. That was just a very very bad phase for me because I was going through a lot, and also you have to think about the fact that I moved to New York all alone. I don't have a lot of friends, I don't have any family member in New York. I was going through life all alone by myself, and it was very dark. It was very difficult for me. And I remember sometimes there was a day I wanted to throw myself because I was staying on 26th floor. I wanted to throw myself from the 26th floor down. Maybe I should, because obviously I am a suicidal patient. I've been suicidal from like the age of 14. So it just keeps getting worse. Like every interview I go for, I'm always this close. Final rounds, everything, like I'm always this close, but I never get the job. Then the unfortunate job I got sometimes in at the uh, beginning of spring, that job, oh my god, it was a mess. A micromanager. Like this lady wants to know when you want to pee. Even though you are working from home, she wants to schedule a promptu meetings. She's like hounding you. And I know where I was coming from. My mental health is not strong for this. Like I started panicking again. And this whole time, I had already moved to Michigan because I have a lot of debt. Like imagine being jobless in New York for more than 6 months, like going to 1 year. I already had a lot of debt. I'm owing my rent. I am like 6 months behind with rent, and I am facing eviction. I have to keep going to court. I was applying for state assistance, like with New York Housing Department, trying to get like some of my rent paid. Like, and also this is why I think we live in a shitty system, and I always tell people not to internalize things like that because this is not your fault. Imagine me working hard, about $3,500 leaves my paycheck and goes to tax every month, and there is this down moment in my life, the government won't even assist. Like they are always coming up with excuses as to why you are not getting approved. They would drag out the process. Like some of the things they come up with does not even make sense. At first they will tell me to go find money to pay like the pay 1 month's rent. They need to see the receipt. I found the money, I paid 1 month's rent, I got a job. They say, oh, since I got a job and I can pay 1 month rent, they can't assist me. And they told me initially like they won't assist me until I get a job and I can pay 1 month's rent. And everything just keeps getting difficult. I maxed out on credit card. I have nowhere to turn. I had nowhere to go. And the only option was for me to go back home, go back to my parents' place in Michigan. It was very difficult. I tried going back to Michigan at the end of April. I went to Michigan for, okay, I went to Chicago. I visited my cousin because she was graduating in first week of May. I got there. From there I went to Michigan to go pay my parents a visit. I just didn't feel comfortable. I thought I moved past that life. I am having my own space for the very first time. And why should I be in this situation? Why should I come back to Michigan? So I tried going down to a friend's place in New York. My friend told me that his roommate was moving out, and the place was cheap. It's based in London. I will try to find the video of that building or the unit and like post it up here. And that place is not so conducive for living, especially during summer. It was hot. It was one of the buildings like before World War II. So you know, like it was just like not the very best. I was finding it difficult to adjust. However, I just kept on working because I work from home. I would carry my laptop, go to the gym early in the morning. I don't give room for excuses. At this point, I was actually getting stronger physically, mentally. I was not going to give up. I would listen to Whitney Houston and I would cry and cry and cry. I just wanted everything to change because I always thought to myself all I wanted was a better life. Each time I even feel judged or people question my cost of living or why I'm living life like this, I'm like, is it wrong for me to want something good for myself? I'm not harming anyone. I am putting in the work. I am doing the work. I don't think I begged for a situation where I had to lose my job and I'm in this mess. I don't think anyone wants a life like that for themselves. And like my crime was just wanting what everybody wants, what every human being wants, which is good life, a normal life. I am not trying to be a multi-millionaire or be a billionaire or what. I don't want that. All I want is a comfortable lifestyle, and I work for it. I always go for it. I study, I work, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm not special. Every human being out there as well, they are hustling their way, they are working hard. And I will tell you this, please do not internalize most of these things, because people around you or the world might tell you, oh, you don't deserve that, but you do deserve that. You deserve all the good things of life. Everybody, even the mad person on the streets, like people you don't like, everyone deserves a comfortable life. No matter the job they are doing, no matter where they are, I do think like housing is a basic necessity. Clothing, shelter, food, they are basic necessities. Like everybody should have that. You are not asking for too much if you want a comfortable life. And at that very moment, when I stayed at my friend's place, that his roommates moved out, and then I paid. After staying there for like the first 24 hours, I'm like, come on. I told my friend and my cousin, they were like, oh, you can't stay here. This place is not so good. The noise, everything. I would just suggest you move back to Michigan and stay with your parents for a while you get back on your feet. And at that moment, I would just break down and start crying. I needed someone to hold me. I needed something to comfort me, which I don't have. I barely have like I don't have anything to comfort me other than myself. I have to find the strength in me to just carry on, to keep pushing. And in the midst of all of this, you also have to deal with like maybe some acquaintance who you thought of as friends, but then when you get into situations like this in life, you realize like, well, you're your own kid, you always have been. Those people you think of as friends, they are not your friends. You are alone. You have to figure this shit out. This is life. And at that very moment, I think it was just very important for me as well. I got to a point in my life, I think around June, when I moved back to Michigan. And I realized, instead of asking myself, why is this happening to me? I'm like, come on, bitch, you are not special. What you have to be doing is, what can I do when all of this is over? How do I make sure I don't end up in this situation all over again? What lessons am I getting from this whole situation? That I think was one of those things that helped me. Instead of thinking about, oh my God, oh God, why is this happening to me? Like I was saying earlier, I worked hard, I went to school, I'm hustling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I started asking myself, how can I remove myself from this situation? At some point, that wasn't working. Obviously, I have no control over that. I won't get any miraculous money or manna raining from heaven to like save myself or get. I have to work. Obviously, I have to accept, like, I came to a point of radical acceptance that, well, unfortunately, the major, this is part of life. You just have to move on, go to Michigan. I moved back to Michigan fully in May. I moved my things. The moving company, Piece of Cake, helped me move my things into storage. They saved it for me. In fact, I was owing them the whole time because I couldn't even afford to pay for about $600 monthly. That was just like, at that very moment, all I was doing was paying, because I already borrowed money from a certain mentor that was also meant to be a friend. The moment I lost my job, this person became a total brutal animal, where the nasty text messages like asking me about the money, and this is the person I confided in. This was the one person I thought I could trust when I moved to New York. She told me, "Oh, you can come stay with me." She Actually, we won't get into that right now because I don't think this is something I want to do. So I moved back to Michigan. I didn't have a car, and if you know Michigan, Detroit specifically, you know everything is spread out. So you need cars, you need to be mobile, just need a ride to move around the town. I didn't have that. My stepmom is always working, my dad is always working. They go to work, so they take their cars. I had to walk to the gym. I would walk to the gym for 45 minutes and walk back for 45 minutes. That was just how dedicated I was. And I'm so glad I saw the results with my workouts as well, like the daily steps, the dedication in workouts 6 days a week. It was paying off on the side. I just became stronger. I became wiser, and I was just moving on with life. I was paying the friend I was talking about, I owed, and my other family and friends I borrowed from while I was jobless. I took that time while I wasn't paying rent. I started paying off every one of them. But the one fear I had before moving out of my old apartment was that my credit is bad. How would I get a new apartment? How would I survive? How would I move on with my life? I will probably have to pay for this for the next 5 years, because you know how important credit is. And I built this credit at the age of 21, 22. I already had a strong credit history. My credit was already at 780. I was doing very well. I had like strong credit card with thousands of dollars. In fact, like Amex with like as much as you can spend. I have done that for myself. I've been there, done that, which also comforts me sometimes, because when I look back, some days when I'm sad, I would think about those days. Well, you've done this at this age. You are actually that girl. You are that bitch. If you can actually get like this cars, these things at this age, you are a hustler. You've done your thing, you would bounce back. Like, you are just getting older with age, and this is part of the lesson. This is your silver jubilee of my 25 years. Like, it comes with different types of lessons, and I guess for me it's the financial one. It's also time to admit I'm not very good with money. I am not good with money, if I'm being honest. And I think most of us, or some of us, not most of us, some of us can relate to this. I come from this type of background where you earn, you spend. That is the way my mother handles money. Like, she gets money today, she blows it up, and da 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 da. That is all I know. That's it. I don't know about investments or any of those things. So there is that part which I'm trying to work on. At the same time as well, I'm trying to find the balance, because I know this is a capitalist society and your controls are kind of limited. You really can't control losing jobs or life events or whatever. You can save all you want, as long as you're a middle class person, and a middle or lower class person. You can't save yourself out of poverty or life emergencies. Like, when that thing hits, once it strikes, you are in trouble. You will get clipped. And I am keeping that at the back of my mind, while also trying to improve my financial decisions, like trying to get better, trying to learn. I am not perfect with that. I made terrible financial decisions, but I'm glad for my growth, and I'm also learning from it. After spending about 4 months in Michigan, I decided to start looking for apartments again in New York, because obviously this is where my heart is. I love New York. I love the city. I think as a black person, as a queer person, it's a city where I'm alone. I feel lonely sometimes, but at the same time, I don't feel alone because this city keeps you guessing. You don't know what is about to hit you next. It's fun to me, and I don't think I've lived anywhere in the world where I feel completely like myself, and I just be whoever I want to be and also have dreams. New York make me want to hustle more. I want to keep up with the lifestyle. I want, like, even in the midst of all this chaos, all this mess, one thing I will tell you is that the income keeps going up. We are back. I'm working. I'm with a good company right now, which I love my role, and that is. I think we should leave the sad parts right now. So before moving back from Michigan, I landed this job during summer, which honestly I think the universe really did it's big one for me with this job. It was everything I wanted, the type of exposure I wanted. Like, I am doing things, and even within 1 month of joining the company, I am getting my recognition. Like, because it's a startup, getting acknowledged for the good work and the things I'm doing, which makes me very happy. Remembering where I'm coming from, and I am very grateful. I am very grateful right now. Let me take this off. Look, oh my God. So I am very grateful with where I am. And I know my story is a little bit all over the place. Please just bear with me. I'm trying to gather my thoughts and make sure I speak properly for those of you that are not Nigerian, because I know I have a very thick accent, which is as thick as my I've been listening to a lot of Megan the Stallion, so ignore. And yeah, I got this job. That was a game changer for me. It's definitely the level I want, the experience I wanted. And I decided to start apartment hunting. Before I got this apartment, it was definitely a lot of rejection. One of those things I was scared of before moving out of my old apartment, which was how would I bounce back from this? Like, a bad credit score, trying to rent an apartment in New York. Yes, I do have the income. Like, most of them request for 40 times the rent, and I can confidently say, I mean, she is making it. Like, I am totally like even times two of what they are requesting for. So I am very good with that, and I got this apartment which I've always wanted. You know, there is also power in the tongue. I've always been this person that believes in saying whatever you want, putting it out there, telling the universe this is what I want, this is what I want, and moving like kids. Even when people are telling you, oh, this is too low, you can't do this, da, 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 da. As long as you want it, as long as you're moving towards it, going for it, putting in the work, you will get it. I was scared to apply for this apartment because obviously it's a very expensive one, and I applied to an apartment nearby. That other apartment was very close to this. At that other apartment, they rejected my application. I even tried to get a co-signer on it, and they were like, oh no, we can't, your old apartment took you to court. I was like, but I paid them off. You can see the case is not in court. I wasn't officially evicted. They were just taking me to court to try to get the money, which I paid them. I was out of job. I didn't have job for a certain period in my life. And also, it makes me mad that we live in a society like this. People shouldn't have to go through that. Landlords have a lot of power, and I hope we get a better government that can actually strip them of those power. Housing is a basic necessity. It shouldn't be tied to credit. Things like this are very important to human beings, and I don't think we have to go through all of this stress to try to put a roof on our heads. And that is another story for another day. So we would probably get into that in a separate video, because I intend on doing videos like this watch out for Black, Queer and Thriving on my channel. This is exclusive. It will definitely be a weekly vlog, and maybe make it seasonal, where we will be talking about some of those pressing social, political, economical issues, and because it matters to me as a Black queer person, so I will definitely be talking about things like that on this channel. I decided to apply for this apartment, which I always zoomed in from my old apartment. My old apartment is somewhere further down there, and I knew I wanted this building. I've told it like multiple times, but I was just thinking about the cost of living here. And then fortunately for me, I already got a bigger, better paying job. And then also, so fortunate for me, someone was trying to break their lease. This amazing lady, she's a medical doctor, she was trying to break her lease, trying to move out of this apartment, and then they were looking for someone to take on the lease. Lo and behold, the rent is $40 cheaper than my old apartment. However, I got a bigger, better, more spacious unit, a proper walk-in closet, a nice view, a kitchen cabinet in New York. I got a kitchen cabinet in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, I got everything that I wanted. If you check my old videos, you will see the things I complained about. I got everything I ever wanted in this new apartment. So after this video, I believe my next video will be an apartment tour. I am trying to make some changes to the apartment. I have my old couch here, but I intend to sell it by Wednesday. I am already in conversation with someone on Facebook Market. They would pick it up, and the coffee table I got from Wayfair is not good. I don't like it. I will probably plug a video as well. I would record the way it looks right now. It looks a mess, but it's a work in progress, and we are going to make some changes, make some updates to the apartment. I feel like I'm still holding on to most of the things in my old apartment. I bought the same rug I was using there. I have the same couch, and I love my coffee table. That is definitely something I loved from my old apartment. I'm keeping that. However, we need a moody aesthetics, like switch things up, add some wall art, just, live that proper life. Omo Lugba season is here, and I am ready to take over. I am ready to take charge. I am ready to shine as the star, as the giver that I am. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know the story is a little bit all over the place. Put your comments down below, what you want to know, things you need clarification on, and please be respectful. If you are being disrespectful, I would ignore you. I don't do this back and forth thing. I would just ignore you, and I don't block. Your comments will be there. I don't respond to trolls. Please be very mindful, be very cautious, be a lady, be respectful, ask your questions, ìbéèrè faja, like they say in Yoruba. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Watch out for my next video, which will be my apartment tour. Life has been good lately. I have